Hello and welcome to the End Times Revival Ministries. It's a pleasure to have you today with us as we continue with the series on the glory of God. And I want to look at the book of Exodus, chapter 34, and this gives an account of where Moses asks God that he may manifest his glory to him. Keep in mind here, this is Exodus chapter 34. From Exodus chapter 2, we begin to see Moses' encounter with God as he goes from the wilderness and he visits when he visits the wilderness, he then sees the burning bush. When he sees the burning bush, then he hears a voice telling him to take off his sandals, for the place is holy. And that begins a lifelong journey for Moses, a personal discovery of a God that he had not known before. Now, so between Exodus chapter 2 and Exodus chapter 34, there is so much that has already happened. We see deliverance of the nation of Israel from Egypt. We see so many wonders and signs following the works and the leadership of Moses of the nation of Israel. But when it comes to chapter 33, we see Moses craving or desiring something greater than what he had seen before, which was signs and the miracles and the wonders. But Moses wants something more. It reads as follows in chapter 33 and verse 18 of Exodus. And Moses said, "Please show me your glory." So Moses is looking for something more than what they have already experienced. Now, because we are looking at the glory of God, we then need to realize here that God had not manifested his glory to the nation of Israel. He had manifested signs and wonders following the leadership of Moses, but Moses, he knows that there is something that is not yet revealed from the presence of God. And so he says to God, "I want to know your glory, not just your signs and wonders and miracles, which are acts of your greatness, but I want to know your person, your glory, your essence." And God responds as follows. There is a set of orders that Moses is given on what to do and so on. But if you look at chapter 34 and verse 5 and following, it reads as follows. "Now the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, abounding in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and the fourth generation." So what we see here, God is proclaiming his own essence and character. It is more than the signs and wonders, which Moses doesn't need to tell God, "I want to see signs and wonders because I have never seen that before." Of course, Moses has seen the signs and wonders, but he says, "I want to know the essence of God, the character of God himself." And then what God does, is interesting dichotomy here. Moses says, "I want to see, show me." We expect God to make some visible, dramatic appearance and manifest himself in a way that is not necessarily packaged into words. And with that expectation, though, God surprises us in that passage that we've just read. God does not appear in a dramatic, dazzling, great light, as it were. What he does, he proclaims his name. And he says to Moses, he proclaims his character to Moses. The character of God, it is to be proclaimed. And many times Christians, when they are looking for the glory of God, they are looking for something more dramatic and dazzling, and that is not what the glory of God really is about. It is about proclaiming his character. And for ministers of the gospel, if we do not proclaim the character of God, the glory of God will not be seen by those that listen to us, because the glory of God is contained in his character. and we proclaim that character. And when we do, that is a proclamation of his glory. And God himself here, as we see clearly, he comes out to show Moses his glory, and he proclaims that glory. And he mentions there's a balance of two issues here that he talks about. He talks about mercy and grace and long suffering and goodness and truth. And then he goes on to say, and by no means clearing the guilty. So this talks about both the grace of God and the righteousness or the justice of God. Again, here is the balance of his character between a merciful, righteous, gracious God, but also a God of justice who must punish sin. Proclaiming that character of God is proclaiming his glory.